It was supposed to be just another quiet evening at a small roadside diner. Rain tapped softly against the windows. Neon lights flickered outside. Inside, tired customers sat in booths, sipping coffee and scrolling on their phones. Nothing felt unusual, until the shouting started. "Hey, come here. Are you deaf or something? Bring our food faster." 3 rough-looking men sat near the center of the diner. Loud voices, dirty boots on the seats, arms spread wide like they owned the place. A young waitress stood frozen beside their table. Her name was Lily. She had only been working here for 2 weeks. This job paid her college fees. Every shift mattered. Her hands trembled as she held a tray of drinks. "I'm really sorry, sirs," she said softly. "The kitchen is a little busy tonight." One man slammed his fist on the table. "Busy? Or are you just slow?" Another laughed. "Maybe she needs a better brain." Customers looked up for a second, then quickly looked away. No one wanted trouble. Lily forced a weak smile. She tried to step back, but one of the men leaned forward. "Where do you think you're going?" He grabbed her wrist. The tray shook. A glass slipped. Crash. It shattered on the floor. The sound echoed through the diner. Everyone froze. Lily's eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean." "Sorry isn't enough," the man sneered. Laughter followed. Phones stayed in pockets. Mouths stayed shut. Fear filled the room. At the far corner, near the window, sat a man alone. Black jacket. Simple jeans. Quiet presence. He had been reading peacefully. He slowly lowered his book. He had seen everything. He stood up. The chair made a soft sound against the floor. No one noticed at first, but something changed in the air. The shouting stopped. The laughter faded. People turned. The man walked forward calmly. Step by step. No anger. No drama. Just purpose. No one knew yet that the quiet man approaching the table was Keanu Reeves. And in the next few minutes, everything inside that diner was about to change forever. As the quiet man walked closer, most people still didn't recognize him. To them, he was just another customer. Another tired face. Another person trying to enjoy a late meal. No one knew he was one of the most respected actors in the world. Keanu Reeves. But right now he wasn't a celebrity. He was just a human being watching something wrong happen. Before reaching the table, he paused. He glanced at Lily. Her face was pale. Her lips were shaking. She tried hard not to cry. He felt a deep anger inside. Not loud anger. Not violent anger. The kind that comes when you see someone being treated unfairly. Let's go back a few minutes. Earlier that evening, Lily had arrived at work wearing her simple blue uniform. She tied her hair neatly. Checked her reflection. Took a deep breath. "Just get through the shift," she whispered to herself. Her mother was sick. Medical bills were piling up. This job was her only support. She couldn't afford to lose it. When the 3 men walked in, the bell above the door rang loudly. Clang. They entered laughing, pushing each other, smelling of alcohol and smoke. "Best seats," one shouted. They chose the biggest booth in the center. From the moment they sat down, trouble started. "Hey waitress. Over here. Why is it taking so long? This menu is trash." Lily hurried over with a notepad. "Good evening, sirs. May I take your order?" One man leaned close. "Smile first." She smiled. "Now write." They laughed. She wrote. When she brought their drinks, they complained. Too cold. Too warm. Wrong glass. Wrong straw. Every excuse to insult her. But Lily stayed calm. "Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I'll fix it, sir." Inside she felt small. Across the diner, Keanu had arrived quietly. No bodyguard. No sunglasses. No attention. He chose a corner table. Ordered black coffee and toast. Said thank you to the waiter. Opened his book. He noticed Lily's tired eyes. He noticed how she flinched when they shouted. He noticed how no one defended her. He watched. Not because he was famous. Because he cared. At one point, Lily passed his table. He smiled gently. "Take your time," he said softly. "You're doing great." She looked surprised. "Thank you," she whispered. That one sentence gave her strength. But the men noticed. "Who's your new boyfriend?" one mocked. They laughed louder. When the food finally came, they pushed the plates away. "This looks disgusting." One man purposely knocked over his drink. Splash. It soaked Lily's uniform. "I'm sorry," she cried. The men clapped. "Clean it." The manager was busy yelling in the kitchen. He didn't see. He didn't care. Customers looked uncomfortable. but stayed silent. Only Keanu stood up slowly. He closed his book, placed it on the table, paid his bill, and took a deep breath. He wasn't standing up as a star. He was standing up as a man. And now, he was walking toward injustice. The moment Keanu took his first step toward their table, something shifted in the diner. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was a quiet change, like the calm before a storm. People felt it. Some looked up from their phones. Others stopped chewing. Even the cook in the kitchen paused. Keanu walked slowly, not in a rush, not trying to scare anyone, just steady, confident, focused. The three men were still laughing. Look at her face. She's about to cry. Lily stood frozen, holding a wet napkin in her trembling hands. Her uniform was stained. Her eyes were red. She wanted to disappear. Keanu stopped beside her. He looked at her first. "Are you okay?" he asked gently. She nodded, though she clearly wasn't. "I'm fine," she whispered. Then he turned to the men. "Why are you treating her like this?" he asked calmly. One of them looked up. "Mind your own business, old man." Another smirked. "Yeah, hero. Go sit down." Keanu didn't move. "This is my business," he replied. "When someone is being hurt in front of me." The tallest man stood up. He was big. Wide shoulders. Thick arms. He leaned close. "You think you're brave?" Keanu met his eyes. "I think you're wrong." The words were soft, but they hit hard. The diner went silent. Even the music stopped. The man laughed nervously. "Wrong? About what?" "About thinking you're powerful," Keanu said. "Power doesn't come from fear." The second man slammed his hand on the table. "Enough talking." He grabbed Lily's apron and pulled. "Go get us new food." She gasped. Keanu's voice sharpened. "Let her go." 3 words. Clear, strong, final. The man hesitated. For the first time, fear appeared in his eyes. "Or what?" he challenged. Keanu stepped closer. Not threatening. Not violent. Just present. "Or you'll regret who you chose to be tonight." Everyone held their breath. Phones were recording now. A woman whispered, "Call the police." But no one moved. The tallest man shoved Keanu's shoulder. "You think you're some movie hero?" Keanu barely moved. He looked at the man sadly. "I don't want to fight you," he said. "I want you to stop." Silence. Then laughter. "Listen to him," one shouted. But it sounded weak. Forced. The manager finally appeared. "What's going on here?" Nobody answered. Because suddenly, someone near the window gasped. "Oh my God." Another voice followed. That's Keanu Reeves." Whispers spread like fire. "No way. It can't be. John Wick." The men froze. Slowly they looked again. The calm face. The familiar voice. The quiet strength. Recognition hit. Their confidence collapsed. The tallest man stepped back. "Wait, you're..." Keanu raised his hand. "Doesn't matter who I am," he said. "What matters is who you are right now." The words cut deeper than anger. Lily stood behind him, shaking. The whole diner waited. What would they do? Fight? Run? Apologize? In that moment, everything was about to change. For a few long seconds, no one inside the diner moved. Not the customers. Not the manager. Not even the 3 men. It was like time itself had frozen. All eyes were locked on the quiet man standing in front of the table. Keanu Reeves. Some people had their phones raised halfway. Others forgot to press record. No one expected this. The tallest man swallowed hard. His tough attitude was gone. His shoulders dropped slightly. "You're really him?" he muttered. Keanu didn't answer. Instead, he turned slightly toward Lily. "Would you like to sit down for a moment?" he asked softly. She looked confused. I still have work." "You've done enough for now," he said kindly. He pulled out a chair from a nearby table. "Please." Her eyes filled with tears again. But this time not from fear. From relief. She sat down slowly. The entire diner watched. The second man tried to laugh. "Bro, it's just a misunderstanding." But his voice shook. Keanu finally looked back at them. "A misunderstanding is when people make mistakes," he said. This was a choice. The words hit hard. A woman near the counter whispered, "He's right." The manager wiped his forehead nervously. I'm sorry, sir," he stammered. "I didn't know there was a problem." Keanu glanced at him. "There has been a problem all evening," he replied calmly. "You just didn't want to see it." The manager looked down. He had no answer. One of the men kicked his chair back and stood. Look man, we were joking. Okay. No, Keanu said. You were humiliating her. Silence followed. The man's face turned red. I didn't mean. Intent doesn't erase harm, Keanu interrupted. Respect does. More phones were recording now. Some customers nodded quietly. Others whispered prayers. The third man, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. We're sorry, he said. Really? Keanu studied him. Not angrily. Not proudly. Honestly. Are you sorry because people are watching? He asked. Or because you understand? The man hesitated. Then his head dropped. Because I understand. For the first time his voice sounded real. Keanu turned to Lily. Did they apologize to you? She looked at the floor. I think so. Keanu shook his head gently. Say it properly, he told them. All three men turned toward her. I'm sorry, the tallest one said. For touching you. For yelling. For everything. I'm sorry, said the second. You didn't deserve that. The third added. We were wrong. Lily looked up. Their faces were no longer mocking. They were ashamed. I forgive you, she whispered. A soft wave of emotion spread through the diner. Some people wiped their eyes. Keanu placed a hand on the table. Good, he said. Now leave peacefully. They nodded. Quickly paid their bill. Left extra money. And walked out without another word. The door closed behind them. Silence returned. Then, applause. Slow at first. Then louder. Clap, clap, clap. People stood up. Not cheering a celebrity. Cheering courage. The manager rushed over. Mr. Reeves, I'm so sorry. This will never happen again. Keanu looked at him seriously. Make sure it doesn't, he replied. Not for her. Not for anyone. I will, the manager promised. Keanu turned to Lily again. You handled that with strength, he said. Don't forget that. She smiled through tears. Thank you, for seeing me. You were always worth seeing, he replied. Outside rain had stopped. Light entered through the windows. Inside something had changed. People felt it. This wasn't just a scene. It was a reminder. That silence supports wrong. And courage stops it. And in that small diner, humanity had won. After the three men walked out, the door of the diner closed slowly behind them. The small bell above it rang. Cling. Then, silence. Not an uncomfortable silence. A peaceful one. Like after a storm finally passes. People slowly sat back down. Some lowered their phones. Others wiped their eyes. Everyone was still processing what had just happened. Lily remained seated, staring at the table in front of her. Her hands were no longer shaking. But her heart was. She had never experienced anything like this before. Someone had stood up for her. A stranger. Someone who didn't know her. Didn't owe her anything. Yet chose to protect her dignity. Keanu pulled out the chair across from her and sat down. Not as a star. Not as a hero. As a friend. Are you feeling okay now? He asked gently. She nodded slowly. I think so, she said. I've just never had anyone do that for me. Keanu smiled softly. You deserved it, he replied. Across the diner, whispers continued. That was really him. I can't believe it. He's so humble. No bodyguards, nothing. A teenage boy walked up hesitantly. Sir, he said nervously. Can I take a picture? Keanu looked at Lily first. Is it okay with you? He asked. She smiled. Yes. He stood up and took a photo with the boy. Then returned to his seat. No drama. No attitude. Just kindness. The manager approached again, holding a clipboard. His hands were shaking. Mr. Reeves, he said. I want to personally apologize. I failed my employee. Keanu listened carefully. Then asked, what are you going to do differently tomorrow? The manager froze. I'll make sure staff are protected. I'll be on the floor more. I'll train everyone better. Keanu nodded. Good, he said. Apologies matter when they come with action. The manager bowed his head. Yes, sir. Lily watched everything. For the first time she felt important. Not invisible. Not small. Suddenly, an older woman from another table stood up. She walked toward Lily. I was a waitress once, she said. And I wish someone had done for me what he did for you. She hugged Lily. More customers followed. One by one. You were brave. Stay strong. We support you. Lily couldn't hold back tears. Not sad tears. Grateful ones. Keanu stood quietly watching. This was what mattered to him. Not fame. Not cameras. Human connection. Then, a local reporter who had been eating nearby approached. "Mr. Reeves," she said, "people online are calling you a hero already. Do you want to say something?" Keanu smiled politely. "I'm not a hero," he replied. "I just didn't want to regret staying silent." The reporter nodded. That sentence spread online later. Millions would share it. But right now it was just words in a diner. Keanu reached into his wallet. He took out several bills. Placed them gently on Lily's table. "For your courage," he said. Her eyes widened. "This is too much." "No," he replied. "It's appreciation." He also signed the back of the receipt. Not with his name. With a message. "Never forget your worth." Lily stared at it. It felt like a blessing. A promise. Then something unexpected happened. A man in a suit entered the diner. He looked around nervously. Spotted Keanu. His face lit up. "Mr. Reeves," he exclaimed. "I've been looking everywhere for you." People turned. "Who is that?" The man walked closer. "I'm your agent," he said quietly. "You missed 3 calls. There's an emergency meeting in 10 minutes. Only then did many people realize. This wasn't just a kind stranger. This was a world-famous star who had chosen to sit in their small diner and defend a waitress. Instead of walking away, Keanu sighed softly. "Tell them I'll be late," he replied. Something more important happened here. The agent blinked, then nodded respectfully. "Of course." He left. The realization hit everyone at once. This man could be anywhere. Luxury restaurants, private lounges, red carpets. But he chose this place, this moment, this girl. Lily finally spoke. "Why?" she asked. "Why did you help me?" Keanu looked at her thoughtfully, then said, "Because once, someone helped me when I was invisible." She didn't understand completely, but she felt it. This wasn't about fame. It was about humanity. And now, the story was no longer just about stopping bullies. It was about changing a life. The diner felt different now. Lighter. Warmer. Like something heavy had been lifted from everyone's heart. People returned to their meals, but no one was really eating. They were still thinking about what they had witnessed. A quiet act of courage. A simple choice to care. Keanu slowly stood up from his chair. He looked around once more. At the booths. At the counter. At the old coffee machine humming softly. Then his eyes rested on Lily. She was still holding the receipt with the message written on it. "Never forget your worth." She traced the words with her finger, as if afraid they might disappear. Keanu walked toward the counter. "Could I have one more coffee?" he asked politely. The cook peeked out from the kitchen. "On the house," he said quickly. "With respect." Keanu smiled. "Thank you." While the coffee was being prepared, Lily gathered courage and approached him. "Mr. Reeves?" she said softly. "Yes," he replied. I don't know how to thank you." He thought for a moment. "Promise me something," he said. "What?" "Promise you won't let anyone make you feel small again." She nodded firmly. "I promise." That answer meant more to him than any award. The manager came back holding some papers. "Mr. Reeves," he said nervously, "I've written a formal report. Those men are banned from this diner." Keanu looked at the paper. Then at Lily. "That's a good start," he replied. "But safety isn't paperwork. It's attitude." The manager understood. "I'll train my staff," he said. "And I'll be present. Always." Keanu placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then you're doing your job." Outside the sky had cleared. Streetlights reflected on wet roads. A soft golden glow entered through the windows. Keanu finished his coffee. Stood up. Put on his jacket. People noticed. Whispers spread. "Is he leaving? Already?" A little girl at another table tugged her mother's sleeve. "Mom, that's the nice man." Her mother smiled. "Yes, it is." As Keanu walked toward the door, Lily followed him. "Wait," she said. He turned. She handed him a small paper bag. "I packed you some pie," she said shyly. "It's our best one." He laughed gently. "Thank you. I'll treasure it." They stood there for a moment. Two strangers. Connected by one brave moment. "You changed my life tonight," Lily said quietly. Keanu shook his head. "No," he replied. "You reminded me why kindness matters." Just then a police officer entered. Someone had finally called. He looked around. "Is everything okay here?" The manager nodded. "Yes, officer. It's handled." The officer recognized Keanu. "Sir, Thank you for keeping things peaceful. Keanu nodded respectfully. That's everyone's job, he said. Before leaving, he turned back to the whole diner. I want to say something, he said. People fell silent. When you see someone being hurt, he continued, you have 3 choices. Ignore it, enjoy it, or stop it. Only one of those makes you proud later. No one spoke. Everyone listened. He smiled gently. Choose wisely. Then he opened the door. Cold air rushed in. The bell rang. Cling. And he stepped outside. People watched through the windows as he walked into the night. No crowd. No spotlight. No limousine. Just a man. Doing the right thing. Inside, Lily felt something new. Confidence. Strength. Hope. The manager gathered the staff. From today, he said, we protect each other. They nodded. Customers finished their meals. But many stayed longer. Talking. Reflecting. Changing. The story spread online. Videos. Posts. Comments. Millions watched. Not because of drama. Because of humanity. Weeks later, Lily would start college with new courage. Months later, she would become a supervisor. Years later, she would tell this story to new employees. About the night a stranger showed her worth. And somewhere else in the world, Keanu Reeves would be sitting quietly in another cafe. Reading. Drinking coffee. Ready. If kindness was needed again. Years later, that small roadside diner still looked the same. Same cracked tiles. Same old coffee machine. Same wooden booths by the window. But something inside it had changed forever. People who worked there called it the Night of Courage. New employees heard the story on their first day. About a young waitress. 3 cruel customers. And a quiet man who chose to speak up. That young waitress was Lily. And she was no longer shaking. She now stood behind the counter with confidence. A badge on her uniform read, Shift Supervisor. She smiled as she handed coffee to customers. Have a great day, she said warmly. And she meant it. Every time she said those words, she remembered that night. The night she learned her worth. On a shelf near the register sat a framed receipt. Faded with time. But still readable. Never forget your worth. Kr. Customers often asked about it. And Lily always told them the story. Not to praise a celebrity, but to teach a lesson. Fame didn't save me, she would say. Kindness did. Outside the diner, life moved on. People rushed. Phones buzzed. News changed every minute. But that story stayed alive. Because it wasn't about Keanu Reeves. It was about choice. Every day we walk past moments like that. On buses. In shops. At schools. At offices. Someone is being laughed at. Ignored. Humiliated. Hurt. And most of us look away. Not because we are bad. Because we are afraid. Afraid of attention. Afraid of conflict. Afraid of standing alone. That night in the diner proved something powerful. You don't need to be famous to make a difference. You just need courage. Keanu never talked about that night in interviews. When reporters asked, he would smile and say, I just did what anyone should. But millions knew the truth. Not everyone does. Some people choose comfort over conscience. Some choose silence over justice. But he didn't. And because of that, one life changed. Then another. Then another. Lily began volunteering at shelters. Helping young workers. Teaching them their rights. Telling them they mattered. She created a small support group. Called it, Never Forget Your Worth. It started with 5 people. Then 50. Then hundreds. All inspired by one moment. One voice. One choice. Years later, Lily received a letter. No return address. Just simple handwriting. Inside was a note. Proud of you. Keep shining. A friend. She smiled when she read it. She knew who it was from. Somewhere across the world, Keanu continued his quiet life. Riding subways. Donating secretly. Helping silently. No cameras. No headlines. Just humanity. Because real heroes don't need applause. They need courage. And they choose it every day. Now let me ask you something. If you were in that diner, what would you have done? Would you have looked away? Pulled out your phone? Pretended not to see? Or would you have stood up? You don't need muscles. You don't need money. You don't need fame. You need heart. Every time you defend someone, you become someone's Keanu. Every time you speak up, you become someone's hero. Every time you choose kindness, you change the world quietly. One person at a time. Remember this. Respect is not a gift for the powerful. It is a right for everyone. Waiters, cleaners, drivers, students, workers, strangers. Everyone. No one deserves humiliation. No one deserves fear. We all deserve dignity. That's the real lesson of this story. Not about a movie star. About being human. So the next time you see someone being treated unfairly, don't scroll. Don't laugh. Don't walk away. Stand up. Speak out. Be brave. Type respect in the comments if you believe kindness is true strength. Red heart. Type courage if you promise to stand up for others. Flex biceps. And tell me where you're watching from. I want to thank every good heart personally. Folded hands. Because the world doesn't need more famous people. It needs more kind ones.